just as we have performed calculations with the values from a raster layer, we can also do the same with values from a vector layer. And we have a corresponding algorithm which is called field calculator. Here it is, the field calculator. If you double click on it, you will see that the interface is pretty similar to the one of the raster calculator, but it has an extra list here which you can use to select the layer that you want to use, the layer that you want to take for the calculation. In the case of the raster calculator, all this list of elements in here, you didn't have a fields branch, but you had here a layers branch. The layers do not change as you are executing the algorithm, as you are selecting the values that you want to use, or the expression from the formula, but in this case they change because these fields in here change depending on the layer that I have selected here. That is because I can take the values from the fields in the attribute table of the vector layer that I'm using and not the values in the attribute table of a different layer. So if I change here and I say don't want to use this basins layer but a different one, then the fields tree will change to contain just the fields from that layer. Okay, so in this case I just have one layer, this basins layer, and this is the one I'm going to use. And if we go here to this layer and we just check the attributes table, you will see that it contains many different parameters in here. And for instance, let's say that I want to calculate a new one, which is the ratio between the area and the perimeter of each one of the polygons. To do so, I will use the field calculator to add a new field containing that element, that value. So I go back to the toolbox, look for the field calculator again. Here it is. I select the layer that I want to use, basins. You see this is the formula that I want to use because I have already executed this algorithm with this formula, and it just puts here the latest value that I have used. But you can just go directly here, do it again, and select area divided by the perimeter. This is the formula that I want to use, and as it happened in the case of the raster calculator, you can double click on the element here, also on the functions and on operators and constants. So this is the formula, and right now just click on OK, and there it is, the new layer. It's called result, and if I go to its attribute table, I will find a new field here which is called result and contains that division, the area divided by the perimeter. Now there's a different algorithm which is pretty similar in the interface, but it does a different job, and it's called filter vector. Filter vector layer. Filter vector layer is an algorithm that takes a vector layer and analyzes its values, and if a given expression, if a given formula gives a value different than 0, a value other than 0, then it will keep that feature in the output layer. If not, it will not keep it in the output layer. So I can use that to filter an input layer based on the values associated to all the features in that input layer. For instance, let's say that I want to, from this layer with 3 features, with 3 polygons, I want to keep just these 2 ones that have a value of this result field larger than 600. So I will keep this one and this one. Let's do it. I'm going to first of all just remove the selection, and now I go to field, to the filter vector layer algorithm, and you see that the interface is exactly the same one as the one that I used for the vector for the field calculator. Here you have to enter the expressions as it happened before. This is the expression that I want because I have already executed the algorithm, but I will enter it again. So here you have all the fields. You just select the field that you want to use. In this case, I have now two layers. I have to select the result one or the basin one. You see, if I select the basins one, I don't have the field that I need because it was added just to the result layer, but it was not originally in this layer. So I select result, this changes, and now I see one additional field. So result is, I can look for the operators here, larger than 600. So this is my expression, and now just click on OK. And if this is true, or it yields a number which is different than zero, other than zero, then it will pass this filter. If not, it will not pass the filter, and it will not be added to the resultant layer. So that expression yields true only for two of these new polygons, two of the polygons in the input layer, and that's why this output layer has just two polygons in here.